anyways, this is part 2 of today's edition of the Pro-Life Diaries. So anyways, oh my gosh, I mean, that was just like an absolute fiasco. I mean, basically, like, you know, in the guidance office at the school, and then when we got home, I mean, my goodness, I mean, she just couldn't stop crying and everything, and basically, like, I had to tell her, I said, yo, girl, I don't mean to, like, put any more pressure on you than you already have, but can you just please, you know, just, you know, listen to them and just get an abortion, because, you know, like, we'll finally be able to get some peace in our lives, you know, things get restored between you and your parents, and then everybody will just, like, start backing off me, and I can just, like, and get ready, you know, for my graduation and everything, and then you'll feel better after you get it done, and you'll be able to stop crying, and so anyways, it was just like, you know, unbelievable situation, and I'm like, oh God. And then it's like almost every day, like, that's, you know, her psycho mom, you know, wants an update from me, so I'm like getting, you know, called down in the middle of all my, you know, ending of my classes, you know, like prepping for exams, and getting called down to like 1, 2, sometimes 3, you know, counselors saying, you know, they want an update, you know, have I made any progress, you know, and anything, have you convinced her yet, and all this kind of stuff, and it was just like, oh. I mean, it's just like, I said to myself, this is just like so bad. I'm like, and then, you know, almost every day I'm just like bringing it up, and then, you know, I'm saying like, you know, girl, you know, have you really considered it, you know, like getting an abortion and everything, and I mean, things would just be so much better if you just went and got it done, and so, and everything, and every time I brought it up, you know, she'd just start crying again, and then she'd just get so angry and then really scared, and I'm like, oh God. And so anyways, I came to, you know, my graduation, and finally, you know, everything got together, and I got, you know, accepted to university, and that was like really fantastic, and that was just a little consolation, and I was like, because I was really worried about that, and then we just, you know, she was about 10.5 weeks pregnant then, and then but, you know, a few days later it was Canada Day, you know, the 1st of July, so we went and saw the, you know, the Queen and Prince Philip, and they're making the grand tour, and we got to see all that, and that was really kind of fun, and I don't know, it was a day we just, you know, kind of got our minds off everything, and then, you know, and what have you, and by that time she was like 11 weeks pregnant, and then just like when she was like 12 weeks pregnant, and her mom comes around, and you know, they're still like in this limbo and like non-decision and this and that, and I'm like, oh man, this is just like, can you just like, oh, you know, and then her mom comes around again, and you know, like as one last ditch attempt, you know, to convince her, you know, to get an abortion, and then like they ended up having like this huge, you know, ruckus in the driveway, and that was just really horrible. And then she came in, and I said, like, what's going on? And she said to me, and she said, well, I told my mom to take a hike, you know, I'm not getting an abortion, and because I've got people here that support me and care about me, and they'll help me have the baby, and that are standing by me and giving me all the love and support that I need. And so it's like, that was just like so weird, because like, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what hit me, but I mean, something just like switched on. I have no idea where that came from, and all of a sudden I just like get so giddy. I mean, I was like bouncing off the walls, like, oh my God, she's having a baby and everything like that. I was like, yahoo! I'm like so happy, and I said, oh my goodness, like, I'm like so ecstatic, you know, you know, at one time, and then like just a few short weeks before, I'm like begging on my knees, like, for her to get an abortion. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like losing my mind? And then basically, yeah, I became her partner, you know, doing the prenatal stuff, and going to the doctor, and buying maternity clothes, and having a good time, and then I got to be there with her, you know, for her first ultrasound at 19 weeks, and you know, went in as her partner, and then like I was like, I can't believe it. It was just like it was like the hugest show I've ever seen in my life. And then they had like the screen, like TV right there, and then all of a sudden they did the stuff, and then I saw like the head and the arms and the legs and the spine and the heart beating, and she was like really being really quiet, and it was me that had like the 20 questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like way too fascinated with stuff. And then she and then I asked kind of like, can you tell like whether it's going to be a girl or a boy? And then like they asked my friend, and they said, do you want to know? And she said, well, okay, let's go for it, you know. So they moved it around and did the manipulation, what they need to do, and then they found out, like, okay, 80 to 90% the chance is going to be a boy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and what have you. And then we found her dad, and she hadn't seen him about 7 years, and then she went and lived, you know, with him for a couple of months, and then came back and was supposed to come visit us, and she's visiting friends. And all of a sudden I get this call, and then she's like delivering she's in the hospital, and she thinks she's gonna have a baby. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's no way. I mean, this is like, you know, this is 6 weeks before her due date. She's 6 weeks premature, and she's like, oh my gosh. And then I race to the hospital, and then I'm right there in the maternity ward, and you know, I mean, like seriously, you know, all throughout this time, like, you know, not typical, you know, pro-choicer, you know, like being like so diehard, you know, for abortion and all that kind of stuff, and yet in the end, you know, like doing a crisis pregnancy thing and allowing the girl to stay at your house and have the baby become term, and then, you know, because even if we were in this crisis pregnancy situation, I'm definitely not going to the crisis pregnancy center, because I had some very preconceived notions about you. So I just want to say I'm sorry about how, you know, I had these really bad stereotypes in the past, you know, being a pro-choicer. Okay, so it goes both ways. And so, anyways, I mean, you know, and then she's there, and then basically, if she hadn't, you know, ducked in the bathroom, in 2 seconds, I would have ended up wearing, you know, the amniotic fluid. You know, her water broke and everything. So I believe, so believe you me, I have seen the upfront and very personal aspects of childbirth, and then she got up there to like to start pushing, and then like my mom told my dad to, you know, call in, you know, take Laura home. And so I went home with my dad, and I said, Dad, I told him, Dad, if you ever make me do that, I will kill you. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So basically, you know, that's kind of what happened. But then everything deteriorated. She ended up getting an abusive boyfriend, and really, really bad situation. I had to call the authorities. So and then we lost company, and just recently this summer I got a call, and I'm actually not a call, an email from her, and she's doing okay, and because it was all down to me about whether, you know, she'd get an abortion or not. Well, the baby that I ended up being able to save, you know, next month is going to be 10 years old. So just wanted to tell you these little stories, you know, that, you know, to break down the stereotypes and all that kind of stuff, and have us come together and let's find, you know, real honest solution. And I just want to tell you, I cannot. Sometimes I wonder if I was absolutely brainless all those years working with in the abortion industry and working with the, you know, for the clinics and everything, after having seen, you know, the whole ultrasound and what, you know, what the baby looks like and everything. I said I must have been brainless. So anyways, this is the end of this edition of the Pro-Life Diaries, and hope to see you back here very soon. Bye.